obstacles in the participation of data sharing. Within these research areas, we publish results and publications that are freely available, usually also in English. So feel free to get in touch with us and find our research results at our homepage. Before we jump right into our data, I would like to show to you what we are going to talk about today. Before we go into too much detail of our research results, we'd like to present to you with perhaps the most interesting part of our research. Once a year, we conduct a wide-ranging study in German companies, and we investigate what the status quo of the German data economy is and what barriers there are to participate in data sharing. In our most recent study from 2022, we were able to survey over 1,000 companies in Germany. You can find the detailed results in our current white paper on our project homepage, which is on ieds-project.de. The entire study is freely available. It's in English and in German, so feel free to jump right to our project website and see for yourself. But as we said, we asked over 1,000 companies in Germany, what is the status quo of your data economy? Are you participating in the data economy? Are you participating in the data sharing? And today I would like to show you some of the results that we gathered. Among other things, we asked the companies whether they are data economy ready. Data economy ready are companies that are able to manage their data efficiently. This is the case if they store different types of data digitally, operate in efficient data management, and use the data for many different purposes. Our survey showed that over 70% of companies in Germany do not consider themselves as data economy ready. These companies are thus hardly in a position to use data in a value-creating way and to participate in data sharing or data ecosystems. From an overall political perspective, this is a huge omission for the business location of Germany, as it means that a huge potential is just not being exploited. This is like a very treasure that is not gathered within Germany. And what we're trying to do is counteract this phenomenon. We also asked the respondents what the current role of data sharing is in their company. The companies were asked to classify themselves either as pure data providers or data recipients, as organizations that do both, or as an organization for which data sharing plays no role. The data showed that a large proportion of companies use data from outside, but hardly anyone discloses their data to other companies. This can be for a number of reasons, which is I will also discuss in a moment in the next slides. Often organizations choose not to share their own data, but use customer data or so-called open data portals. Now, before we go into more detail and before I show to you more of our results, we would like to ask you some questions, and I would like to hand over to Anna.
Thank you, Inan. So now we are coming to the fun part. Before sharing the results of our study, we would like to hear your opinion. And for this, we are using the Mentimeter. I will just paste the link into the chat, and then you can tell us what's the most important challenge of data sharing in your opinion. So is it like a legal barrier, organizational, economic, or is it the technical barrier, which is the biggest one for the company? You can also, if the link in the chat isn't working, you can just go to menti.com and then insert the code, which is written down on the slide Inan is just showing. And I will just share my screen so all of you can see the results, which we are just getting from this little survey. So I can see already 6 persons answered something. I'll just wait some more seconds.
Can you please repeat the 2 last digits in the code?
Sorry, it's also written here. I will just post it in the chat. But it should also work if you're just clicking on the link.
Yes. Okay.
It looks like we have a clear winner. No, we do not.
Pretty interesting that the technical barriers aren't that important in your eyes. I think we are having another question about the economic barriers later, Nina. But I don't know if somebody wants to mention something special, just feel free to talk to us and we will just go into a discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. I just wanted to ask actually, because organizational barriers can be so many, and I would really like to know if somebody has a very concrete example from the people here in the breakout. Just if anyone wants to.
An example of what?
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah. Yes, you want to have a concrete example in data sharing, but what do you want the example from? From the ease or from the difficulties or
Yes,
from
like what is the barrier in the organization or in the organizational matters?
Okay, if you start, there are a lot of security barriers. All data isn't shareable. And then there's also barriers like everybody wants that everybody shares data. But
I see. So you're addressing the willingness, right?
yes, but if you don't see any benefits from sharing your data, if you are being told that we want your data and you can't catch what's the point if I give the data, what do I get from it?
Okay, I see. Thanks.
Yes, these are perfect examples for economic barriers that we're just going to talk in a few minutes. So thank you very much.
Hello from Linz. Hello and guten Tag, and maybe in Romanian bună ziua if someone is here from Romania.
Bună ziua.
I think there is an issue with compliance because you cannot just share all your data when it comes to compliance. It means that if you share your data, someone maybe with the same business idea like you have gets the context, then maybe they get all your processes out of the data, and this is sometimes very difficult when it comes to, I don't know the word in English, wenn es zu Betriebsgeheimnissen kommt. So to say, you give a lot of your business knowledge out to the public, and yeah, it's dangerous sometimes. And also when it comes to finance data, I mean, maybe you are a small company which doesn't need to give out the balance sheet each year, so you don't want to share your revenue, and so yeah, it's difficult and dangerous. Thank you.
Most definitely. I would also come to the legal barriers that we were talking about, also to that. Now, thank you very much for voting. This is very interesting. What I would like to do now is compare these results with our results from our survey. As you can see here, we also asked the companies, what are your barriers to participate in data sharing? And due to the large database we were able to use, you can consider the results almost as a benchmark. Our study highlighted something exciting. We also asked about the legal, technological, economic, and organizational barriers as we asked you. And the result was that by far the greatest role was played by the legal barriers. The organizational, technological, and economic barriers are all roughly balanced out around 22 and 26% respectively, but 68% of the companies in the survey cite legal barriers to participation in data sharing. Since this breakout session is more about the economic barriers, we would like you to use Menti again and tell us more about what do you think are economic barriers for your organization to participate in data sharing. One barrier that we just heard was that it is not clear what the use of data sharing or what benefits there are of data sharing to participate in data spaces. So I would like to give it to you, Anna, again.
Maybe first, Sebastian, as you're raising your hand. Do you want to mention something? Okay,
I was on mute. Okay. It was about a legal barrier. It isn't always a question about if it's legal or not to share something. Sometimes it's a question of that people treat you like a shop. Everybody comes and everybody thinks that, or in our company we share data, so we come and take data from you, and they don't ask, is it okay to come to come and browse your computer, your hard drives or something? Many times I have wondered, is it almost impossible to get a small prompt? I want to check this thing in your computer because of reason and something. And it's okay, but if you are cooperating with a lot of hundreds of companies and everybody is checking the whole time, so I have counted that sometimes I have been during 1 hour I have been 17 times checked. And try to do something if every check takes 30 seconds and you have 8.5 minutes of interruption during every hour because of some people want to check something. So why don't just put a small prompt in the window? I represent this. I want to check your computer because of reason this, and that's okay.
Thanks for that. If I may, Inan and Anna, I would like to pick that up because I had a lesson with machine producers in Austria just currently on that topic. They were talking about their EDI connections in the supply chain with all their suppliers. Yeah, and the cool thing about data spaces is actually that they enable exactly that. So you can automate those standardized requests, like it is in supply chains. It's always the same supplier requesting the same data and vice versa. And this can be optimized even up to the smart contracts that you press that button and you even sign the contract and with your digital signature or anything similar. So I think here are actually the business potentials in making things more efficient. So thanks for raising that, and I give the word back.
Yes, and there are also initiatives like the IDSA or the Eclipse data space components who are working for automation of usage policies for third parties or the automation of contract building. So these questions are somewhat tackled in these initiatives. Yes, I see the first results are in.
Yes, I just shared my screen. So if you haven't answered the question yet, just go back to Menti and type in what you're thinking about economic challenges in data sharing. But I think, as we already can see, that there are some challenges which are probably also from other categories. So for example, we are having the security also here as an economic challenge, but I think it's also a big technical challenge. Or we are having something like untrusted ecosystem or privacy challenges, which could also be more like an organizational stuff. So if you just written down something, maybe just also comment it here in the chat, just unmute yourself and yeah, let's have a discussion about these challenges.
Yes, thank you very much, Anna. These results are very great, are very interesting, and yeah, somewhat awesome, because I would like to show to you our results from our survey, what the other companies said about economic barriers to the participation of data sharing. As you can see, we asked the companies that participated in the survey what barriers they see from an economic point of view that prevent them from participating in data sharing. The answers received were the following: lack of market prospects, lack of economic knowledge, lack of human resources, no suitable business model, concern about business success, and unclear benefits. It was found that unclear use is the biggest hurdle to participating in data sharing and sharing one's own data and data from others in a network. Over 2/3 of the companies surveyed said that the unclear benefits prevent them from participating in data sharing. The next most frequently cited issue were concerns about business success and the lack of suitable business model. The companies in Germany are often not able to implement functioning business models behind their new services or existing data in order to derive the maximum benefit from it. This is one of the issues we want to address in our project. In our project, we provide insights into what working business models look like in other companies, what role you as an organization can take in a business model, and to what extent business models are necessary for value creation. Is there something you want to add up? Is there something missing in your opinion? Or is there something that you can really identify with in your organization?
There's something that I would like to share. So we also see that the missing of the business models and the unclear benefits is there, and this is due, at least in our understanding, of the untrusted ecosystem. And by this I mean you will need, in order to make use of your data, you will have new customers and new business relationships with new entities in the market, and with them you would need to find out. You need to start from scratch with experimenting. How is it working? You don't have a product from start. You will have to set up new interaction rules, and especially if you're dealing with somebody from a new domain. Let's say you're so we typically work with machinery producers, for example, and they need to work with software suppliers, for example, or they provide services for software suppliers. Then it's very difficult for them to get on the same page in terms of understanding, in terms of wording, in terms of usage, and this is already very difficult.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you very much. I mean, this is one of the central issues that data spaces are trying to tackle, issues about transparency and issues about data sovereignty. I mean, as you said, there are thousands of new people entering the market, new identities, new entities, and you're not able to trust every one of them or handle every trust issue with every single one organization. And that's how data spaces come in place. They're trying to set up a data infrastructure for the maximum transparency and data sovereignty, so that trust should be a very little issue in these infrastructures.
But I can say from experience that it is there, but when you work, for example, with SMEs who also do not have the full understanding of all these complexities that is new software and why new software is so important, then we are again at the trust factor. So you can see that a huge part is still the human factor in trusting. But I think I also totally agree with what you say, because by providing a software infrastructure that can ensure the sovereignty and security, this is, I think, one basic step towards a more generic trust in the community in general.
Yeah, what I would like to share, I'm fully with you. So there's one thing: once you have already established a business relation, then you need the technical side for it to work. But before that, in order to set up this new business relationship, you very often need to do some tweaking, some adjustments. And in order to do this adjustment and setting up the value proposition, that doesn't come from scratch and doesn't come by its own. You need to have a proper, at least trustworthy environment to speak about what I need with somebody that I have no idea of whom I can trust them.
I see where you're pointing at. This is the reason why we changed our or why we have elaborated our co-creation model bottom up from from the stakeholders towards the use case, and also always use case driven. When you have the use case, you can calculate, you can show your CEO, look, this is the added value we get as a company. And yeah, I totally see what you're saying.
Yes, thank you very much. There's one more thing I would like to show to you before we come to the last part, which are the hurdles in. There's someone. Can I mute them? I think I can. Yes, perfect. Before I come to the hurdles in participating in data spaces, as I showed to you, the most mentioned answer in our barriers for participation in data sharing was the legal aspect. And I just want to take the chance and show you the answers and show to you what other companies said about their legal issues in participating in data sharing. Therefore, I would like to show you quickly the data from the results on this topic. As you can see, the three most important hurdles mentioned were unclear rights to use the data, ambiguities in the general interpretation of contracts, and hurdles in competition and antitrust law. Data protection and unauthorized access by third parties are by far the biggest concerns and were mentioned by 88% of the respondents. And I think this is one of the issues that have been mentioned just a couple of minutes earlier, that these data privacy issues, but also these unauthorized access by third parties. Who do I trust? Who am I working with? It seems like this is like a benchmark also in Germany for the reason why organizations are not participating in data sharing. And yes, before I come to the last part, I think this is the last question we have, Anna. But before I give it to you, I think there's a hand raised there.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what you just showed. Can you go back to the slide, please?
Yes, most definitely.
So do you think that these concerns regarding data protection and unauthorized access by third parties, are they based on real experience, or are they based on, let's say, anticipated, dangers? There's from my point of view, our experience in terms of the data intelligence initiative in Austria is that we have, as usual, completely different views in two different kind of populations. Those who are actually already the data exchanger, they have very different kind of concerns, and those people who have not yet done that, it reminds me sometimes of people, all the people who are most against asylum seekers are those who have never met a refugee,
Yes.
What is your experience?
Unfortunately, I cannot give you a clear answer to that. That's we didn't ask it in the survey. What we did is what kind of concerns do you have? But we did not ask the companies if they had a bad experience, if they burned their hand. We just asked them if this is a concern. So unfortunately, I cannot tell you if they had a bad experience or if this is a concern that they haven't tackled yet or something.
But given that your project is 3 years, so this is something you could ask the next time around, right?
Yes, most definitely, and most interesting.
Okay, please share with us and send this to us, because I know that, we really need that kind of differentiation. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you back. So perfect. If there's
Okay.
no other question, as I said, I would like to give it to Anna for our third and last question.
So this time we need to choose a different link for Menti because we're using the free version and we're just allowed to ask 2 questions per link. So I will just post a new link and a new code inside this chat. And then I would like you to ask you under what conditions it could be interesting for a company to make its own data available to other companies. So what should be the conditions that a company shares data, even if there are some concerns? And I would just share my screen so you can see the results of everybody. So I just see something like business value and higher efficiency. So it's something the company earns from the data sharing. So the company needs to have a benefit for itself. Probably the persons that just wrote this down want to tell something to these words.
Nice, the cloud is growing. Very nice.
Maybe I have an idea what could be beneficial if organizations share the data. So if, for example, there is a data hub and the company owns already a bunch of data, so a lot of data, in fact. If these companies could, for example, download some free workflows like NIME workflows, where they can connect to their databases and extract the data very easy without needing to hire someone who knows, for example, SQL or things like that. Just free workflows that are available. Just download the software to open the workflow and connect to your database and extract the data without the need of a specialist. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Is there any other comments?
Why do we need a different program for precise everything? Why do we need SQL for that? People use social media or people use some drives in the cloud or something. So why don't you use something that already exists? Why always something new?
In the context of data spaces, what could that be?
Whatever.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm personally a development researcher myself, and I'm always questioning, do we need technology and why? So this is one of my major questions. And the thing I see in data spaces is that it's truly a novelty that can solve a problem that exists. We talk about security, sovereignty, etc., and clearly has new software standards. So if the old software versions cannot address something like that, I think then it's clear. But I think you were more pointing towards SQL per se, right?
But do we need a software at all? If you share that data, it's almost the same if you just have one hard drive and one directory and everybody puts the same data there, then it's shared. You see the idea or the thinking I'm after that
I think so. Could it be that you're still thinking, when you think of the data spaces, what we talk right now, data sharing in general, that you're still talking about centralized storages actually, and not the decentralized versions that the software infrastructure of data spaces can provide, because I think I see two added values, which I have pointed out before already. Data spaces enable me to automate my business processes, but also to secure my data in a higher sovereign extent. That is the one thing. And also the reusing of data from other actors is easier actually, because it's always in the same format and in the same infrastructure. So that has also sustainability aspects again.
I understand your point, and my looking at things are more abstract. I look in very big lines at things. So if you have the same data in different places, it's just like mirroring the data across over the world. So
I think I get what you're saying. So we can also follow up on that after this session and after today's event, if we would like to offer that. I think then we have more time to also discuss.
Yeah, but I think it's an interesting question, because also when we are talking to companies, they're always asking us, why do we need this data space? Why just can we use like Dropbox or something? And they don't understand the benefits. But at the same time, as we just showed, they're afraid to share data because of missing trust. And I think data space are a good way to enable this trust.
Maybe I also can attach something to my idea. The thing is, you have different databases in your organization. You don't have just one database, and if you share your data just as flat data formats, then you create just a data lake. So no one wants a data lake to extract different file formats from this data lake. It would be really awesome if there could be just something like I don't know, a data warehouse where there are just tables which you can access without the need of different technologies. Yeah. Thank you.
So we also came across this. I mean, everybody comes across this topic, and we address it by dealing with services only. So just services as response to a demand, and not a data that still needs to look for certain usage. So you provide an answer for a problem, and if there is somebody who needs this answer, this answer, then they would use your service. And as long as it has an API, it's pretty much and a pretty much standardized protocol to access, then there's kind of doesn't matter what tool you use, what backend you have. As soon as it's a service, that's what we've come across, then this problem is kind of solved in another way.
Thank you. I think that is actually what we are always stating. We're not talking about a data ecosystem. Connecting data alone is we don't need that. Yeah, we can just send files via emails if you want to do that, or you can just connect the repositories where they are staying. What we want to have is that services can arise from those data, services that are really needed. Yeah, where a group of people in an economic sector domain says, yes, I have an issue, this person has the same issue, and this person has the same issue, and with that we can address it.
We have, if people talk in different companies, why can't we just use Dropbox or something? So the data is already in a data space in a lot of places, but the only thing we need is a map, and the map how we look at the data, and it should be easy to understand so that it always looks the same, so that people don't have to search for something on the web page, like where is the search bar? It has to be a familiar design so that people understand it. When they see the page, they already understand how to move in the page.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is when you look at a data space in the metadata catalog, you actually have a search button. First of all, you access the domain, and then you can really search, and it screens all the metadata of the data assets that are connected to the data space. To the data space. So I think this is actually heading in the direction you want to frame, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, what we do in this context, we believe in hubs. So in order to, so we are in the mechatronic domain, and once you enter the mechatronic domain, it is possible to kind of oversee or at least connect the different elements, services, solutions that are out there on a certain meter level. And then you go to another hub, I don't know, some design hub, for example. There is a domain, there is another hub that can again link all elements within that domain. And then you and then you link the hubs. So you make modules for services in the end. So meter levels, and even, so to say, not hierarchies, but let's say ontologies. And I think that's a way to approach this problem. That's how we see it.
So we decentralize the data to centralize it in the hub. So
no. That's federated. No, it's federated. It's just the ontology that is created.
Yes, but the control of the data must be in the hub. If nobody manage the whole data, then it can't work.
Just ask the question regarding the slide which we have now made on the basis of the Mentimeter. Mr. Klima, if you look at this and considering the input you have just given, where do you see a win-win situation in terms of data exchange given those conditions listed here?
That's a very good question. Thank you. So we maybe just a bit of context. We've been working on the technology side for a while, and we have understood that it's too difficult for companies to understand and use services because there's no higher good. And now we have identified that we actually apply it for circular economy. Because in circular economy, you definitely need knowledge from domains you have no idea of, and you need to talk with people that you've never spoken with, and then it's prominent that the business value is done by the regulations that are coming in regards of CO2 footprint or CO2 certificates, things like this, and then you need answers, and you can only do a cross-company product design. And once you need this, you will overcome. There's a higher goal that you have to fulfill or want to fulfill.
I think this is very, very interesting what you say. I mean, we are working in the Data Intelligence Initiative on this issue of how regulation can be a driver for innovation. And what you are describing to me now is actually exactly a very good answer to the question posed by our friends from Fraunhofer. If the regulatory environment changes towards making these kind of issues mandatory, or let's say you have to buy yourself out of it, meeting a certain kind of requirements, then it becomes interesting for you to make your data available to others.
Exactly. It's the value creation. The business case is so that the legislative is changing the way you make money, and you still want to make money. So that's why you use those. You try your way through the requirements that you're having, or that are set.
Okay, that's right. I think that kind of logic is very important, you know, especially in the entire ESG area, and also, you know, regarding the supply chain, you know, I mean, requirements which are coming down the line, and others. Yeah. Okay, very good. I love what you say.
Maybe we can follow this up at some other
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I also think we need to head back, right, Anna and Inan?
Yes, I
Yes.
just saw the message from Tobias. Like last sentence. I don't know, Inan, do you want to say something?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank you
listening.
all,
Thank
and
you.
see you in the main room.
Yes.
Thank you.